And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. And we are right inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Heritage Hill Studios here with you. Heritage Hill, a fantastic place to be. Heritage Hill out in Pompey. You'll find them at the Brew House in Pompey, New York, in the central New York beautiful landscape and just majesty of central and upstate New York. You'll find them there out on the hills of Sweet Road in Pompey, New York, and you'll also find them on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York, right at Sweetheart Corners at Heritage Hill North. So make sure you make your way out there. Fantastic food, beautiful, beautiful views. You know, when you go out in the countryside for the brew house, and when you go to Heritage Hill North, the beauty of that is the fact that you have the opportunity to be around so many things. You can just be coming out of the airport and say, what's so good about central and upstate New York? You know, where can I go? What can I find? If you're like me, when you go to a city or a town, you want to find something that's local, you want to find something that lets you know about the community, and Heritage Hill does exactly that. And they're right there in the community, out in the country, and right by the city. So very easy to get to, and an awesome, awesome experience. When you see the Heritage Hill name, you know something good is coming from it. So with that being said, inside of Mod Pa's popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Of course, it's a Monday, which means that DT and Murphy is starting off your week. Brendan Murphy is joining me. I do want to let people know we will be off next Monday because it is a holiday. So we will be off next Monday for Memorial Day. And so just love us up twice as much this week and listen twice as intently. So as Murph and I are here with you this morning, we will have a conversation about the PGA Championship. We'll also discuss Scottie Scheffler, who was in jail and then got to the PGA Championship and I think was 6 under. So, you know, pretty insane to hear a story like that. But we'll talk about the PGA Championship. We'll get into the Preakness while you freak this. And then we'll get into the NFL and discuss what's going on. We've had conversations about the schedule. We're going to further those conversations. Over the weekend, we had a bonus broadcast with Anthony Campbell of GG Cards and Breaks, and he was on the show for the first time ever. We had the opportunity to speak on the NFL schedule and storylines. Murph and I are going to continue to do that. We're going to talk about Aaron and how Aaron Rodgers and this Jets team, what their schedule looks like, the fact that they are one of 3 teams, including the Niners and the Cowboys, that will be featured 6 times on primetime, not including any London or anything like that games. So the nighttime games are the ones that are prime time, but like the Jaguars have a few, they have a couple. They also have 2 in London where they're going to be the only game on television, but it's not considered prime time because it's a morning game. So we'll talk about the Jets and what that looks like and how Murph feels about the schedule. And we'll also look at some other NFL storylines. GG Cards and Breaks will bring you our sports card show and tell bonus content from GG Cards and Breaks. And I got one of the biggest things I've ever shown on the show. So with that being said, Murph and I are here for you this morning, picture in picture in the Heritage Hill Studios. Mr. Brendan Murphy, how are we?
We are good. Life is good. Counting down the days till the move. If for those that don't know, the house has been, well, it's under contract to be sold.
Yes.
So nothing's official until you close, but it's under contract to be sold. The packing has started. That's gonna be, we're only here for about another month. 31 days that we still have here. Sorry, 32 days. So we are yeah, we're getting ready to get out of here. And what's bad about that is I'm not going to be here for about 12 of those days.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of packing to do in this time, in that short amount of time.
Yeah. It also says to me that I have to get to the Poconos within the next 32 days because I like this house and obviously care about Murph and the family. So I might have to find an excuse to sneak down there and maybe
It's
help you
gonna
guys
be
pack. I'm
tight
going to have to help.
because there's not much time. Because I
I
got,
know.
obviously, because as you all know, I'm not gonna be, I'll be overseas next week.
Yeah.
Um, that Monday is when I fly home, so I won't be with you guys that Monday. But the following week, I will be in New Jersey on Sunday. Monday, I'll be here. The week after, I have a wedding, and then the week after, we're gone. Like we're out.
Yeah.
So it's I mean, we could try and make something work, but it would probably have to be on a Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's crazy how quick these things happen. But the house getting sold, Murph will have new digs. He'll have a new studio look, and we'll have some fun with
If
it along the way.
if my parents get the house that they just put in an offer for last night, it's not gonna be much of a studio.
Okay.
It's gonna be a bedroom.
Okay.
I won't have this giant, separate room for it or anything. It'll be tight, but that's okay. I'm not all that worried about it.
Yeah. No, listen. I've always learned that it's those that are within the home that make the home a home, not the things. So or the space. So I mean, it's funny because people are like, do you like your house? Do you like where you live? Do you like that? When people talk about that, whatever, and I'm like, I love that I have a place to call my own. And see, but my thing is, God goes with me, I go with God. So wherever I am, He's with me. That's home. And so I don't really look at things as like, oh, okay, like this is my house. This is the end all be all. I look at it like I'm happy that Lily and I can rest our head in a place where we feel good and we feel loved and we feel safe. But that's really what it comes down to for people. It should come down to for people. It's never the size of this or what is that. I mean, you want to have things in certain areas where it's close to where you need to get to, and maybe it's good for work and maybe it's good for travel. But at the end of the day, it's who makes up the house. And
Hmm.
you got an awesome mom and dad, and you got an awesome dog as well. And wherever Murph goes his wonderful vast array of awesome cards, and then they disappear in a deal, and then they reappear in a new deal, and then they disappear again, and then they
Well,
reappear again.
stuff keeps disappearing on me, so
Well,
stuff
because
is also sent to PSA at the moment, but
you've also been very smart in gauging the room and understanding who was coming up. Wyatt Langford, Paul Skeens, you've been on top of
none.
so many of these things.
FYI, especially with Skeens, nothing's left.
Nothing.
And well, that's technically not true, but
Yeah.
it's
Well, you had
sold.
you had two.
I'm
Yeah.
waiting to get paid. This is all that's left.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to get paid for it.
But that's the
One
thing.
of my buddies is buying it from me, so I'm just waiting for him to pay me, and then I'm gonna send it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's exactly what I'm saying. I mean,
But
you figured out
you,
what was, you figured out, you paid
hmm
attention to the trends, and you knew what
I
was
always
kind of
do.
going down, and you were very smart and hip to the game here of what you needed to do and who you needed to get and what you needed to buy, and then once you got it to PSA it and get it out there, and like I said, I mean, you started off a couple months ago, Wyatt Langford, the run on that over these last few months, and then Skeens this time around. As soon as Skeens got called up, you had posted, I have two cards left, and you had a bunch of stuff. So shout out
hmm
to Murph here as we can spend a second here to give you some
That
credit that
that
you've been
auto,
really
by
good
the
about.
way, that I sold at Fishtown,
Yeah.
I saw somebody on Instagram that was selling one for $800
How much did you sell yours for?
for.
But that was at the time.
I kind of feel bad, but it is. I 3x my money.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be complaining.
No, you should not. So don't. don't do it,
The
Murph.
thing is, I've done well with this stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
we're gonna get to the show and tell later, so I'll show off some of the new big stuff I got from 2024 Bowman. I kind of teased it last week, but it wasn't here yet, so it's here now.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll show you some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been paying attention. I am big on prospecting in baseball, especially
Yeah.
because I watch it.
Yeah.
I pay attention to prospects because of me playing dynasty baseball. That's just the way it is. What helps is, you know, the fact that as of this moment, I am currently sitting in first place
Yeah.
in the main league that I am in. And usually early in the season, I don't get off to the best starts in the world, but I've actually had a pretty good start to the season with a ton of guys that are hurt.
Okay. Yeah,
So
you talked about that
I guess
before.
it's
Yeah.
not as many are hurt now. I
Yeah.
still have 6 guys on the IL instead of, sorry, 7. Um, wait, hang on. 5, 6, 7, 8. I still have 8 guys on the IL.
Right.
Um, yeah, but safe to say this has been a fun season so far. I pay attention to my prospects. I do, and I was chatting with one of my buddies about this yesterday. He accidentally texted me thinking I had the certain prospect that he was trying to try and trade for.
Yeah.
And we were chatting back and forth because he basically said, like, hypothetically speaking, what would it take to get this guy? And I jokingly was like, yeah, I guess that wasn't for me. But I said, well, hypothetically speaking, if I were to give you advice, this is probably the guy that I would offer him. He goes, that's pretty fair offer. I'm like, well, based on the rankings that I utilize, it's the closest thing to, one for one that you're going to get.
Yeah.
Um, so then we started chatting about it a little bit. Both of us had him at one point. Is this guy Celestin from the Mariners? I believe he's only 18 right now. But both of us had him at different points last year. I dropped him for Cole Reagans, which hindsight, not a bad move, but he's now flying up prospect boards at 18 years old, and that's not the best look, but that's okay. I've made some other really good pickups. I picked up Lucas Giolito right before he became a Cy Young candidate, and then traded him for something really good. So it all works out in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, it all shakes out in the end. But credit to you for paying attention to the prospecting and making good decisions and getting
Easier
yourself
than football.
yeah,
So much easier than football.
getting
Because football, you actually have to wait for these guys to play well.
right. And
Baseball,
baseball
in
you
baseball,
can watch them come up.
all they got to do is get called up.
Right. You can just
Once they
watch
get called up, gone.
yeah,
You could
you watch them
reinvest
move up,
later.
you watch them get to
Mm-hmm.
get I mean
Yeah,
baseball allows you the opportunity to see a guy in single A, double A, triple A coming up, seeing what they're
and then
doing.
get rid of it.
Right. Where
You get rid of it
football,
when he,
you're
if
waiting for
you,
training camp, rookie mini camp.
mm-hmm.
You hear a few things, but they're not playing any games yet. So
Yeah, if you invest in a guy in baseball, in a decent prospect, now obviously they got to be a pretty good prospect, a guy that can make the major leagues. So even if you're going highly drafted players, right? Max Clark, Walker Jenkins from Bowman this year, Dylan Cruz, Wyatt Langford, Paul Skeens, all these guys. Granted, that's the top 5 picks in the draft. But you invest in these guys, right? The day they get called up, unless they turn into Mike Trout, is the day you sell everything. I did that with Wyatt Langford. Well, I sold a lot of my Wyatt Langford stuff beforehand. I made a lot of money on Wyatt Langford stuff. I did. Um, but Paul Skeens, I made a ton of money on Paul Skeens stuff. I made probably $600 or $700 on Paul Skeens stuff, just raw that I got graded, which turned out to be really, really good. Um, I got the cards for next to nothing. I was in each of the chromes that I sold 5 of them on eBay. I was in each of them for $40 total. No, not even. Maybe 25 a piece. And I sold them for $450 for the 5 of them. The auto, I was in for $120. I sold it for $400.
yeah.
Even the papers I was into for $20. I sold one for $70. I'm selling my one to my buddy for $60. Just I could get more now, but I already told him I'd give it to him for $60, so I'm gonna take $60 from him. So I'm not gonna do that to him. But still, it's one of those things where if you invest in guys that are, even if they're just close to the big leagues,
Yeah.
you get someone that's a decently hyped up prospect that's cheap. Right now, Jackson Holiday, prime example. Granted, he was not cheap when we invested in him, right? But the night he got called up, all my Holiday stuff was gone. The night he got called up, PSA 9 auto, PSA 10 auto, all my Bowman first, gone. What happened? He got sent back down. The market cratered. That auto that I sold for $1,600 is now worth less than half of that. So it is the smart move to get rid of that stuff now,
Yeah.
right as they get caught. Especially now, if you haven't gotten rid of Paul Skeen stuff yet, 6 no-hit innings with 11 strikeouts over the weekend, get rid of it now. Because that's one where the market will stay where it is. I think Livy helps too, but that's one where the market's going to stay where it is for now. But if you have it, I recommend selling it because now is the time where you will make your money. You want to reinvest in him later when his prices come back down? Go for it. Look at Ellie last year, Ellie De La Cruz. Ellie was so hot when he got called up. His market came down over the wintertime. I bought some of them. I sold some of them right before the season started. Now he's on fire again. He's on pace for 100 steals.
Yeah.
Literally. So his stuff's expensive again. You can make money doing that, but you've got to do it at the right times. You invest in the guys that are good prospects, that you can get their stuff raw and cheap and grade. You're going to make a ton of money. But you got to get it raw, grade it, hope it tens, then you're going to make your money.
Yeah.
That's what I did on Wyatt. That's what I did on Skeens. That's what I've done on, that's what I didn't really do that a lot on Holiday. I bought a lot of his stuff graded, but I bought it at good prices.
Yeah. And it comes, like you said, it comes down to paying attention, prospecting, getting this stuff, getting it graded, having it ready, watching when they get called up, taking advantage of the situation when they get called up, and just being smart to some of that stuff and smart to things that are going on. You mentioned Bowman. Bowman 2024 came out, and I've seen 2 empty boxes in Target. I've seen it nowhere else, and and I'm looking forward to it coming into GG Cards and Breaks and some other pieces as well. Now that baseball, because 2024 Topps came out, and that was the first thing, and then we got the Shohei Ohtani short print Dodgers, and now there's the opportunity for Bowman. There's the opportunity for so many other things to start coming out here as we are into the season, a bunch of games. And so we'll get into this. We're going to kind of give ourselves the bookends here, and we'll get back into cards in a second. But, later on in the show, I should say. But I appreciate the knowledge and the wisdom that you impart and the connection that you have to this, because like you said, you're playing Dynasty, you love the game of baseball, you're playing Fantasy Dynasty, you're also collecting, and you're also selling and buying. And so looking at all of these, elements of it, it really is fun, and it really does tie in the fact of when you're paying attention to something and you love it and you enjoy it. Might not be your favorite player, might not be your favorite team, but you start to pay attention to things that are moving. And I've started to do that too. I'm like, if I come across something good, like, okay, this would be good at the Philly show. I'm not going back to Philly for a little while. However, this is a really good price for me to kind of just take it, stash it, leave it there. So, and this is a guy who they're going to continue to like. And when the season opens, they're going to want this. They want it now. They're going to want it more then, arguably. So let me just put that away. So
quarterbacks.
Yeah. And there's a lot of fun in this thing. And it's been terrific to be able to have these moments with you. You and I get to go and have this fun and run around and enjoy our time with it. So speaking of running around, let's get into Scottie Scheffler and what happened with Scottie before he was playing golf again. I'm going to give you all a little bit of background in case you don't know about Mr. Scheffler's last few days. Scottie Scheffler, interesting here. Top golfer, booked and fingerprinted before the second round of the PGA Championship in Louisville, Kentucky. A police officer asked him, did he want the full experience to say? The full experience that day. And he said, quote, I don't know how to answer that. Now, Scottie told one of several officers who had started to razz him after he was arrested early Friday in the alleged assault of another officer in a traffic incident outside of Valhalla Golf club. They asked him if he wanted a sandwich. And then they said under place of employment occupation, the Louisville Metro Police Department had for inmate number 006544436, professional golfer is what they wrote down. But not everybody initially realized that it was Scottie Scheffler. Now, the time and place of arrest was listed at 6:20 in the morning at Gate 1 of the Valhalla Golf Club on Shelbyville Road, near where a 69-year-old man named John Mills had earlier been fatally struck by a bus while crossing the street to work for a tournament vendor. And God bless to not only John Mills' soul in heaven, but also to those that are connected to him, and the awful news of that. And then over 4 hours, Scheffler, who's 27 years old, he was charged with a felony assault for allegedly dragging a police officer with his car while arriving at the course in the pre-dawn hours. He was handcuffed and taken away, an arrest captured on video that was wildly circulated on social media, of course, because that's what social media does. He took a mugshot in an orange jumpsuit, rushed back to the course in time to shoot a 5-under par that left him near the top of the leaderboard. He struggled on Saturday, knocking himself out of contention. Quote, I definitely never imagined ever going to jail, and I definitely never imagined going to jail the morning before one of my tee times for sure, end quote, said Scheffler. He called the incident a big misunderstanding. Dragging a police officer in the morning with your car, little, probably more than a misunderstanding, but one of the strangest days in history, crazy here, when we went through this whole thing of the pedestrian that was John Mills that was struck, and then having this incident happen here as well. And looking at some of I want to make sure I don't miss anything here. So Scheffler pulled up to stalled traffic in a black 2024 Lexus and steered the PGA player courtesy vehicle into the opposite lane in an attempt to get around the backup. This was at 6:16 in the morning. Quote, I didn't know what happened at the time other than there was an accident. I didn't know that it was fatal, end quote. On the dark and rainy morning, Detective Brian Gillis, was directing traffic into Valhalla. Detective Gillis was in the middle of the westbound lanes in full LMPD uniform and a high-visibility yellow reflective rain jacket, the police report stated. Detective Gillis stopped subject and attempted to give instructions, speaking about Scheffler, and then it says Scheffler, quote, refused to comply and accelerated forward, dragging Detective Gillis to the ground. Detective Gillis suffered pain, swelling, and abrasions to his left wrist and knee. He was transported to the hospital for further medical treatment by emergency medical personnel. Detective Gillis's uniform pants, valued at approximately $80, were damaged beyond repair, end quote. So, and ESPN's Jeff Darlington allegedly witnessed the encounter, wrote on social media that Scheffler, quote, continued to drive about 10 to 20 yards toward the entrance before stopping, end quote. Darlington also said, quote, the police officer attempted to attach himself to Scheffler's car, and Scheffler then stopped his vehicle at the entrance to Valhalla. The police officer then began to scream at Scheffler to get out of the car. When Scheffler exited the vehicle, the officer shoved Scheffler against the car and immediately placed him in handcuffs, end quote. Darlington allegedly attempted to intervene, was unsuccessful, and was only several feet away when the golfer was arrested. So at one point, Darlington said on ESPN that Scheffler saw him and said, quote, can you help? Darlington on video is seen briefly following officers as they took Scheffler away. Police told him to step back. You need to get out of the way right now. He's going to jail. He's going to jail, and there's nothing you can do about it, end quote, one officer told Darlington. Speaking of Scheffler, the police officers around the patrol car in which Scottie Scheffler was in had no idea he was even Scottie Scheffler. And that's what Darlington said on air. I say that because one police officer came up to me with his pad and said, can you tell me the name of the person who was just arrested? End quote. So there you are with a very strange situation. Going to a golf course early in the morning, getting stopped, not knowing why there was backup. Scotty's gets there, says, okay, I want to get around all this stuff. Maybe he thinks in his head I'm Scottie Scheffler. Who knows? But he wants to get around it. And I think a lot of people do that, right? Whether or not you've won a Masters or won anything, you see the traffic, you go, okay, how do I get around this? What can I say to get myself a little bit forward? Doesn't know that it's a fatal thing going on here. I've been to a golf course, folks, when when people are trying to get there, they'll go around you, they'll go above you, they'll jump into the sand, come out the sand. So here he is not knowing that there's been a fatal accident with Mr. Mills, and he's trying to get around it. But, yeah, I mean, early in the morning, some dew, some haze, some fog, some rain can cause some confusion. And I definitely know you can be half asleep when you go to a golf course in the morning. But dragging an officer many of yards, yeah, I mean, Scottie, with all due respect, whatever the heck was going on, and wanting to get to the front, just stop the vehicle type of thing. So he was arrested, considered assault, and then he was back on the golf course. That's a lot, Murph. I just read through a lot of quotes, a lot of stuff, a lot of things that were connected to Valhalla that nobody anticipated, including a horrible accident followed by a very unique situation with a golfer that's very well known. More than anything, I pray for the soul, like I said, of John Mills, and I pray for his loved ones, that everyone will be okay, and that there is some peace that comes to this family and to anyone that was around it, affected by it, to the bus driver, to everybody involved, that there is some peace here, because that is a horrible thing. And before we go anywhere, I do want to take a moment of silence for John Mills. And beyond that, I'm at a loss, Murph. I mean, reading through all of that just now, this sounds like a bad Happy Gilmore deleted scene that never made it into the movie. What are your thoughts?
First things first, obviously, prayers go to the family of Mr. Mills, the gentleman who was killed, struck and killed by the bus. But as far as what I know about the situation and what we've seen about the situation,
yeah,
I'm still trying to figure out what attaching yourself to the car is.
Yeah.
But based on that logic, Jeff Darlington being an eyewitness to what happened, I'm actually going to back up for a second.
Yeah.
So, knowing what we know, what Scottie had said, Jeff Darlington was also, again, in that line of cars, which is how he witnessed the thing. Scottie was told by another officer or something, or by somebody, to go around. Or something along those lines. So he did. There's definitely some miscommunication, misunderstanding going on there. He got stopped by the other cop, or by the detective, and I guess he didn't understand what was happening. But from what Scottie said, the way he was dressed, it didn't seem like he was a cop. He didn't realize he was a cop. And I guess the cop, I'm guessing the attached yourself to the car means he grabbed the door handle or something.
Maybe he grabbed the wheel.
I don't think he would have grabbed the wheel. He probably grabbed the handle on the door or something like that. But either way, this whole thing, the charges are going to get dropped. It's a load of crap. He did nothing wrong. It was a misunderstanding of.
Well, the problem is a cop got bruised, and the problem is that that's
based
the problem.
Based on what the eyewitness accounts were saying, and there's also no body cam footage, so there's no way of proving that. Based on the eyewitnesses' accounts, Scottie Scheffler did nothing wrong. The cop grabbed the car and only got dragged with the car because Scottie was still going. So basically, the cop could have avoided that. So that context, Scottie did nothing wrong. So I believed him during the press conference with what he was talking about after his second round. And, you know, the if you ask me, the charges are going to get dropped. He might get a fine for a traffic violation, but that's it. Like the second degree assault on a police officer, that's crap.
Well, the assault comes because there was a cop involved in something with somebody where the cop, no matter what it is or how small it is, the cop had some type of bruise, some type of effect. The assaulting of an officer is that something was done by Scottie
Yes.
Scheffler that led to an officer being affected physically. So, this is a unique situation. It's a strange. I could see this situation, and I'm not saying, and I'm not hoping any of this, and please God, don't nobody do this. I can see this happening on a golf course with anybody. I could see somebody going, get out of my way. Yeah, but sir, you need to, hey, get out of my way. I need to get up there. You don't understand. No, you don't understand. And then you start to go and you think they're going to let go, and then they go, and then it's like who's holding on and who's not holding on because this person thinks that they need to get through and they're important enough, and then the officer's going, no, 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 no. I mean, I've been to plenty of stuff as a media person where they come in and they're there with your vehicle and they're talking to you. So if somebody's feeling a little angsty, and they start to go. So please respect each other. The assault thing comes in from my look at it. The assault comes from, is there an injury sustained by an officer in this incident? In this incident, and there was. So there has to be some type of. You can't just be like, all right, Scottie, slap. You're a good guy. Go ahead, because something happened here, and so they need to figure out how they're going to handle it to obviously provide what's right lawfully, and at the same time understand that this is not an assault where Scottie got out of his. When you see assault of an officer, if nobody read anything, they're thinking, okay, was Scottie Scheffler drunk? Did he come out belligerent and then punch a cop in the face? That's what people like. My first thing when I hear assault of an officer and you see Scottie handcuffed is you think he was drunk, he was high, he did say, he attacked somebody, he was probably drinking too much. The cop told him he had to leave. He said, I'm Scottie Scheffler, and then he hit the cop by accident. He slapped him when he was moving, or he hit him with a glass because, he can't control himself. That's what you think when you see this report. You think, okay, assault of an officer, who did he hit? That's what you think. You don't think like he's in his car and then this guy's holding on to the car and he, pulls him a certain amount. Did he pull him? Was he going 5 miles an hour? Was he going 50 miles? You know what I mean? So there's all of these questions that go into it, Murph. It's a very unique and strange situation. I feel bad for the officer. I feel bad for Scottie. I feel sick to my stomach for the incident. And I feel horrible that all of this was happening while there was something way more important that had already happened. So it's one of those sickening things because to Scottie, I mean, this is a mistake. And you don't want a mistake to carry on for the rest of your life. And at the same time, you want to respect the officer and respect the fact that this officer was physically injured by the incident, which can be an assault. But when you see assault, Murph, and you see golfer, Scottie Scheffler, people start thinking, who did he hit? Was he drunk? That's where people's minds go. And that's really unfortunate for Scottie because that wasn't the case.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. But the biggest issue, and so for me, I was, when I woke up Friday morning, I woke up to that Jeff Tarlington tweet. And that tweet came out long before any charges were announced.
Yeah.
Jeff Darlington witnessed the entire thing, start to finish. I firmly believe that if a player did something, like actually would have assaulted an officer, like would have punched him in the face,
yeah,
Jeff Darlington would have been saying, hey, he did this, like he's completely in the wrong.
Yeah.
Based on what Jeff Darlington had said that he witnessed,
yeah,
and this is eyewitness testimony, like believe it or not, you could believe it or not. That's completely up to you. But I believe both of them. I believe what, Jeff Darlington and Scottie Scheffler said had happened, which, based on that logic, is the cop tried to attach himself to the car,
Yeah.
which is something. It's not like Scottie hit him. The officer grabbed the car, if I'm understanding that correctly, and he got pulled because Scottie didn't see him do it, and when he realized, he stopped. In my eyes, that's not assault.
Yeah.
That is the cop trying to assert his authority and make a stop. I understand what he was trying to do in getting him to stop, but come on, that's not assault.
Right.
That's not assault. And if anybody, if this ends up going viral and people want to quote me on this, go ahead. If you ask me, Scottie did nothing wrong. It was a misunderstanding of where he was supposed to go. The cop blew it out of proportion, and he gets arrested.
Well, and
Might get a fine. He might get a fine for the traffic violation.
Yeah.
But realistically, those charges are getting dropped. You're supposed to have a body cam. There was no body cam. So there's no way for the cop to say, oh, he hit me with the car or whatever.
Right.
When eyewitnesses are saying that the cop attached himself to the car,
yeah,
that's not assault.
Well, and what you're essentially saying,
he got injured because of what he tried to do. I would call that negligence on the cop. Well, and anybody that knows me knows I will, back cops till the day I die unless they do something that is just wrong.
Right.
Like with the whole the dude with George Floyd. Like that cop, we condemn him because he did something wrong, right? I am not saying that I wouldn't support this cop, but I think he blew it out of proportion. Well, I don't think Scottie did anything wrong. Yeah. I think it was an issue that could have easily been avoided.
Yeah.
And that's that. They arrested him for practically no reason.
Well, and we all know, of course, too, this other side of it, right? Which, and you talked about it a little bit there, that there are people in law enforcement, and not even law enforcement. There's security people at gates when you're going to again, being a media person, I have seen people. Some people say it's called taking their job way too seriously. Sometimes, I'll show somebody a badge. I'm in media. Where? Right here. Where? Right here. Where? There's the sign. It's like, can you let me go? Like, I need to get to the game. So, there are people that take their jobs way too seriously. There are people that try to exert their power. And again, I'm not saying it because I wasn't there, but I'm giving an example, and I'm trying to open people's minds to the fact that there are some officers, there are some security people, there are some people that work events that are a little bit excited about power, right? And I've been to a lot of those incidents. So this is what his attorney said. The attorney of Scottie Scheffler. Quote, due to the combination of event traffic and a traffic fatality in the area, it was a very chaotic situation. He was proceeding as directed by another traffic officer and driving a marked player's vehicle with credentials visible. In the confusion, Scottie is alleged to have disregarded a different officer's traffic signals, resulting in these charges. End quote. Multiple eyewitnesses have said that Scheffler, quote, did not do anything wrong, end quote, but drove as directed. He stopped immediately upon being and this is in the continuing report by the attorney, quote, he stopped immediately upon being directed to and never at any point assaulted any officer with his vehicle. We will plead not guilty and litigate this matter as needed, end quote. So, Scheffler, who is, and they put this in the story too, that he is a man of God, and so they're talking about this side of it. I think they're doing that because the media just loves to bash God, and I vehemently think the media is absolutely disgusting in their disrespect of God. And hey, at the end of your life, when you realize God is real, I guess you're going to have to figure it out at that point. But there's multiple times in this report, and of course it's by media outlet that I'm going to leave unnamed, but I'm sure people can figure it out, that they mention here multiple times that he's a man of God for no other reason other than to say he got arrested. And so, I mean, we'll see. Again, reading what his lawyer had to say, and that there was, multiple reports that this was, something where he did not do anything wrong. We'll figure it out. Again, if there are bruises of any kind or some type of, injury to a police officer, that needs to be taken care of. Why it happened needs to be taken care of. Attaching yourself to a vehicle needs to be redefined. And, was Scottie...
I think it needs to be defined
right,
in general.
Right. And
I'd still like to know what that means.
Right. Was Scottie drunk? Was he belligerent? Was he angry? Was he going, F you, cop? Or was he going, hey, I need to get through, sir. I'm sorry, sorry, officer. I just, I'm Scottie Scheffler. You can see I got a player's credit. I'm trying to go practice. It really depends on all the things in the moment. But I will go to something like this from my life and say that I've been in situations where you're calm but annoyed, and not that I've ever pulled anybody or had anybody attach themselves in my car, but I've been in situations at events where I have media credentials, I'm talking to this person, and some people are great, and sometimes people were not as understanding, and it was frustrating. So I think that this is a very, again, unique situation in what happened, but maybe not as unique of a situation in the fact that there are some people that take their jobs a certain way. And, this can be a lot of things, but there was an eyewitness, right? Darlington said he was there. He said he saw it all. So, you just hope that everybody's honest in these situations. The unfortunate thing about all of this is that, again, the biggest piece was that John Mills passed away. That is an awful thing. It is a horrible thing. It is an unfortunate situation, and there's no way to remedy that situation, right? A pedestrian was killed. There's nothing to fix that situation. But we can understand this situation. And ultimately, none of this had to do with the PGA Championship. It was an awful thing to see a death, and that, to me, takes precedence over everything. And then what happened with Scottie Scheffler? Of course, people are going to put memes up, right? So they got Tiger Woods, and they got Scottie, and they got...
the memes were great.
Yeah, all these pictures.
The memes were great.
Welcome to the club, So here we are at Valhalla. Murph, would you like to tell everybody who won? Since there was a PGA Championship, was there not?
Yes. So we've been talking about that for probably 20 minutes here, and we haven't even discussed anything that happened on the golf course other than the fact that Scottie went out and shot 66 immediately after getting arrested and having 40 minutes to hit balls on the range and putt.
Yeah.
So, so Xander Schauffele was a wire-to-wire winner. He opened the tournament with a record-tying 62, tied for the lowest round in the history of major championship. He then went on to shoot, I believe it was 68, 68, and 65.
Yeah.
So he shot 65 yesterday to win. Finished 21 under par, which is an all-time record. The all-time lowest score to par in a major championship. Xander had not won a tournament since 2022, and he had also been known as a player that couldn't finish, especially in majors. He's had the lead before, and he's basically let it slip away. So, fair play to him. He played his butt off, but my God, was that back nine on Sunday exciting. There were 4 different guys that could have easily won that golf tournament. I mean, you look at the way Victor Hovland, especially, was 6 under par through 13 holes on the day. He got to 19 under and had the lead all by himself, briefly, but had the lead all by himself. And then he basically started parring every hole. And then he bogeyed 18 to shoot. He finished solo third. But he played really well, kind of hit a wall. Thomas Dietrich kind of came out of nowhere and had a good day. Shot 66. Justin Rose was in contention. Shane Lowry was in contention, but he kind of faded at the end. Scottie had a rough Saturday. I think in part for two reasons. I think number one, I think the hangover of what happened on Friday, even though he played well on Friday,
Yeah.
did affect him.
Yeah.
I think it finally affected him on Saturday. First round over par in 43 competitive rounds, I think. It was creeping up on a record that Tiger Woods held. But yeah. So he goes out, and the other reason why I think he struggled, so his caddy, Ted Scott, was away on Saturday. That was pre-planned. His daughter was graduating,
Yeah.
so that was pre-planned. He was already going to be there. So he had one of his close friends that was on the bag for him. Not having Teddy played a role. You know, I firmly believe that had Ted Scott been there, he goes out and shoots maybe 68. That's 5 shots better. That's 18 under. He would have been in contention. Scottie being up there would have instilled some fear into Xander and Bryson and Victor Hovland, the guys that came in first, second, and third. But who knows? That's, you know, a story that we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But before I get into, you know, how Xander played on Sunday, let's talk a little bit about Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson had a fantastic final round. Shot 64. And he was, I believe, 2 shots back of the lead. He was 2 shots back of the lead going into Sunday in the third to last group. And he played with Victor Hovland. Drove the ball pretty darn well. Rolled the ball really well on the greens. Was making a lot of putts. His irons put him into trouble sometimes, but he was getting up and down. He was, I think they said 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 out of the sand for the week. Was getting up and down from everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Bryson DeChambeau played what I would argue is a near flawless round of golf overall. 64 at a major, super impressive. But Xander played well, but it's not like he really did. It's not like he really did anything that made you go, "Oh wow!" Like, I mean, he made a bogey at 10 on the par 5, but then he went birdie on 11 and 12 after hitting 2 very good iron shots, and was sitting at 20 under par and was basically still at 20 under as he approached the 18th hole. 17, his approach shot out to the right, was not an easy up and down. And yet he still hit a very good chip to about 8 feet and made the putt. 18 drove it into a really awkward lie right against the bunker. He had to stand in the bunker. The ball was probably a foot above his feet, which for those of you that don't know how it really can work, the ball above your feet can be really tricky, especially when it's that far above your feet. So he hit this shot. I think they said he hit a 4-iron or something, 220 or 230 or something to the flag. He hit this 4-iron. He caught it so clean, and it finishes maybe 8-9 yards off the green to the left in the perfect place to get up and down from. And I'm watching him hit. I watched him after the shot landed. I'm like, holy crap, that was ridiculous. I mean, I was sitting there with my dad. We were watching it, and I mean, he understands how difficult the shot that is. So I said to him flat out, I'm like, that shot right there, if he puts this anywhere near the green, it would be impressive. And he does. And I look at my dad, I'm like, he's gonna freaking win. Like he's making birdie here. And Bryson made the birdie, barely it lipped in and made the birdie on 18 to put some pressure on Xander. He had to make a birdie to avoid a playoff. And safe to say it was an impressive birdie. I mean, Scottie or not Scottie, Xander hit his chip shot on the 18th and on the 72nd hole to roughly the same spot where Bryson had his putt for birdie. And when he first hit the putt, I thought there was a chance he missed it. When he first hit it, it looked like it was going to stay left and lip out. But as it got closer and closer to the hole, it started to really slow down. And you look at it and go, okay, this might go in. But after he hit the chip shots there, I'm like, he's making it. I'm like, it's over. He's gonna make it. I was rooting for Bryson, in all fairness. I like Xander. I think he's a great player. I'm happy for him that he won. I was rooting for Bryson, so I was kind of rooting for him to miss it. But in my head, I'm like, he's not missing this. I'm like, Bryson just had the same putt. There's nothing to it. He's making it. And then it does a little like a 270 and lips into the hole and he won. Finally got the monkey off his back and won his long awaited major. So, great for Xander. Phenomenal finish. This was easily one of the most exciting back nines in a major that we have seen in quite some time. Last year's PGA was pretty darn exciting too. You had, the U.S. Open with Wyndham Clark and Ricky Fowler last year. That was really a great finish. The Open Championship last year, Brian Harmon in there. I think Bryson was making a run at the end. Brian Harmon held on to win. That was pretty impressive too. I think the way this went all week long, you were looking at all these guys that were couple shots off the lead. There was one point where I think there were 17 guys within 3 shots of the lead on Saturday. At Saturday in a major, anybody could have won. Anybody could have won. So Xander to do it wire to wire, a 263 for the 72 holes, $3.3 million and 750 FedEx Cup points. You got to tip your cap to Xander. Really, really impressive what he was able to do. It just didn't seem like anything was getting to him at all. He was unfazed by the pressure. He brought, I wouldn't even say it was his A game. I think he probably brought like his B plus A minus game, and he was able to win. So that was seriously, seriously impressive. I'm thrilled him finally get a major. I've been, saying for years, like people will ask me who I think is going to win, and Xander's a name I've said a lot because he's a really good player, and he's not the longest hitter in the world, but he could still move it. Like there were some drives that hit yesterday. His ball speed was into the mid 180s, which if you don't know anything about golf, that is moving it. It's quick, but he hit a few bombs yesterday and was not afraid to take on adversity, and he could have gotten to that 18th hole or to that 72nd hole yesterday and thought after that tee shot with what he had in front of him for his second shot, he could have just thought, okay, let's just chip one up here to a comfortable number.
Yeah,
let's hit a good wedge shot, and then give us a look. We'll have a putt for the win. Worst case, we're going to a playoff. In that situation, I'm not going for it. I'm tied for the lead. That can go horribly wrong. Right? The bad far outweighed the good there. But he took the chance and it worked out for him. So it's cool to see him finally get one. Anybody that had money on Scottie to do the Grand Slam this year, unfortunately, that's not going to happen anymore. But yeah, I would be very intrigued to see what happens in the U.S. Open, because I think if this week tells us anything, Bryson DeChambeau is gonna win a major this year. It's just a matter of which one. Is he gonna win the? I mean, you look at a course like Pinehurst. It is a For those that don't know, Pinehurst is a very, very unique design. Pinehurst has what they call waste areas, which are technically not bunkers, and there's a lot of them. Pinehurst is one of the most unique golf courses in America, and Pinehurst in general is like considered to be the home of golf in America, and I think that's a place that he could win. I'm blanking right now on where the Open is. I'm gonna try and find it right now. Um, but
I do want to make a note here that Pinehurst, though,
yeah,
North Carolina, we had when the ACC operation when we used to do football media days down there. Well, we do football media days in North Carolina, but they've been in Greensboro, they've been in Pinehurst, they've been in North Carolina and Charlotte, and they've been in Charlotte more recently. But we were at Pinehurst, and back when I first started covering the ACC, golf was a part of the media days. So I think the last time that we played golf at the ACC, that you could play golf for free at the ACC in the media event where coaches played and players could play and media could play, was at Pinehurst. And I remember it was really hot and the grass was like straw going into it. I mean, I didn't see like the full, I'm sure that was immaculately beautiful, but it was so hot. I remember going down to Pinehurst at that time. I do want to.
Let me ask
Go ahead.
you a question real quick. Yeah. Which course were they able to play?
It was like right by the main, because I just kind of tunnel vision went into the main building.
Okay.
But
because obviously, Pinehurst obviously has. I mean, you've been there, so you obviously have seen, the general idea of how it is. There's 10 golf courses there.
Yeah, it's
plus
great.
a par 3 course.
Yeah, nuts. I mean,
Pinehurst number 2 is the one where they're playing the U.S. Open.
Yeah,
I would love to take a trip down there and go play Pinehurst number 2.
Yeah.
My buddy Jimmy is probably who I would do the trip with, who I happened to play golf with yesterday. We were chatting about that, maybe trying to do that in like October, November, go down and play Pinehurst. But if they got to play number 2, even if they played number 4 or number 8, like 4 and 8 are still in the top 100 public courses in America.
Yeah.
Pinehurst obviously is in the top 10, but Pinehurst number 2 is obviously in the top 10. But if they let you guys play number 2, that would have been something special. But I would guess they probably didn't let you play 2. If they did, that would have been awesome.
Well, I just remember, and when we were in Greensboro, we were right on the golf course there for Greensboro. The ACC and the American, they had a golfing event, clam bake. Now we do like a barbecue buffet, but the ACC and the American Athletic, who I've covered very closely, each of them for over a decade, they have been incredible to us and very nice. Now, I'm impartial when I'm out there. I'm impartial of who do I think is going to win the game, this and that. I'm talking strictly like going to an event, because I'm covering 28 teams in 5 days. So, and now they overlap, which stinks. And I would love if they went to one being a week before or a week after like they used to do. I know conferences, they do it. They're not looking at, the ACC's not looking at the American and the Big Ten going, well, when do we do, they're doing it when they want to do it. But the American is 2 days and the ACC is now 4, with the addition of, now I'm going to have SMU, who I've covered for over a decade in the American, and I'm going to have Cal and Stanford. And the crazy thing is, it's been 2, that now last year it was 3, this year it's 4, but the problematic part is I have to be in Texas and North Carolina at the same time. And so it's trying to figure out the logistics of the fact that I cover all of these schools and how to be in two places at once. So typically it means I'm going to miss a little bit, but because the ACC is extended out to almost a full week, the American, I would just love it if the American, because it used to be later than the ACC. I would love if the American was like a Monday, Tuesday, or a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Wednesday, Thursday, the week before the week of July 21st, where, you know, the ACC is now taking over 4 days, so that I could do all of this. I'm still trying to figure it out, and I will. I always do. God is great. And I look forward to it. But yeah, we were down in Pinehurst at one point. I do want to give a shout out because Murph gave a lot of, you know, story of what happened here and what happened on the golf course itself. Xander, you know, to the work that he put forward, and Scheffler is how, that's how it's said you're supposed to pronounce it here. But looking at, you know, we're looking at this, and I'm not.
What?
His last name, it says Scheffler is what it is. They said that's the correct pronunciation on multiple things here.
I don't know. I mean, unless I hear it from him. I mean, as far as I know, it's either Shoffley or Shoffley or some. Yeah. So they'll say sometimes
Schauffele, Schauffele, maybe Schauffele. The way it's SHAO FIL dash.
So that's the phonetic.
EH is the phonetic way of saying it. But you know, but to Xander and to his work, not correcting you. I'm saying, I'm just looking at this for my own eyes. But no, Xander, you know, tremendous first major. Congratulations. Sad everything that went on around it, but nothing should be taken away from your efforts and your play and your performance and the way that you finished everything here. Scottie Scheffler to finish under par at all through everything that he'd been through. I would
shot 60.
Yeah.
What did he shoot? 65 yesterday?
I mean, to me, it's like, I want to, how many of you
he shot 65. Yeah. He still finished T10.
How many of you could go through? How many of you shoot under par, number one? How many of you can shoot under par when you've been arrested? And here's Scottie Scheffler, and people are like, well, he fell out of contention. He fell out of this. This man was -5 at the end of it all, and he went to jail, and then hours later was back on the golf course. Like, seriously,
nothing had even happened.
I mean, ice water in your veins is without question for Scottie Scheffler.
I was joking with some of the people in the center on Friday.
That's crazy.
And saying that it's going to be really funny when they show his mugshot on Sunday when he's holding the trophy.
Yeah.
That would have been an all-time amazing story.
Murph,
that would have been one of the best sports stories ever.
There's something, speaking of one of the best stories ever, here's one of the worst ones. We're going to take a step aside after I say this, so can't wait for this to be the last thing that I say before we take a break. But when pooping is trending on X, it is a sad day for humanity. That is your morning, folks. So have at it. We'll take a step aside for a fast break inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Murph and I will be back to talk about the NFL. Aaron Rodgers. Man, all I know is they started on primetime on September 11th. Now they're starting on primetime on September 9th. Right around the same day. Probably don't have Aaron in the same jersey. Don't have him run out with the flag. Change everything about your intro. And let's see if we can have him for more than 5 minutes. We'll be back right after this. And I promise you that this break will be a fast one, as Murph and I have plenty to talk about inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the taste of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at Heritage Hill Brewery, Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you hanging out with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com, facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com worldwide inside of the Heritage Hill Studios, Heritage Hill, with you in Pompey in the Brew House on Sweet Road, and of course in their new location, Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York, right there at Sweetheart Corner. Taste the difference, experience the local at Heritage Hill, Brew House, and Heritage Hill North. Murph and I have been talking about a lot of things. Who would have thunk it that around a PGA, and it was in Valhalla, and Valhalla is what the Asgardians in Marvel call heaven. So Valhalla, we're talking about heaven, we're talking about Scheffler, we're talking about what's going on. We got Xander winning his first. All of these things going on in a very unique, who would have thought that this is how you're going to start off your morning, about an arrest, about a note to Valhalla, about a first PGA for Xander, which is great, and the fact that the one thing of everything that Murph and I talked about in this first hour and some change that I'm not surprised with, the thing that I am least surprised with, is that he has no more skeins. That is my least surprise that I have. So Murph, let's get into the NFL.
Well, I told you what I do with that stuff.
I know. And you know what? I should have gotten in touch
It's
with
smart.
you. I should have gotten in touch with you about Skeens because I'm like, man, I know he's got some Skeens. I should have reached out right away, been like, I got to get a Skeens. But I have something really funny that I'm going to be showing you.
I mean, I still have Skeens. I just don't have like the Skeens from Bowman Draft.
Yeah.
Like I got Skeens from this year, but you those are like dollar cards. You don't want that.
I can't help myself from, and I'm not going to say what the actual thing is, but a little play on words. I can't help myself this morning from going, Skeens. So, but with that being said here, let's jump into the NFL. I've been breaking down this schedule for a few days here and having the conversation. PJ and I broke down the entire Jacksonville Jaguars schedule from preseason game 1 at home against Kansas City all the way through their final game of the regular season in Week 18. And then I had Mr. Anthony Campbell on the show to talk about his Niners, to talk about the international games, as well as a look at some of those primetime games and the fact that my birthday is back on the day of the week that I was born, back on a Monday this year. I was born on Monday, October 21st at 8:37 a.m. And there is not only a Monday Night Football game, there is a doubleheader on my birthday, which I'm very excited about. So there's a lot of things for us to continue to talk about and to get opinions, right? The international games, there's going to be 5. There's going to be 3 in London. There's going to be 1 in Germany, and there will be 1 in Brazil. First time that we're going to see that. And it's also a Friday night game. So Murph, and that's going to be Green Bay and Philly, 2 teams that have that darker green. There's another team in darker green called the New York Jets. There's a lot of fanfare, a lot of excitement, a lot of hopes for this season. There was a lot of hopes for last season with Aaron Rodgers, who is now 40 years old, standing under center for the New York Jets. Hopefully, God willing, everything goes well and we get to actually see him out there for an entire season. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets have 6 primetime games. They tie the Niners and the Cowboys for the most primetime games of any organization in the NFL of the 32 franchises for the 2024-25 season. There are a bunch of teams that have 5, as well as a bunch of teams that have 4. There is only one team that has 0. However, they are playing I think they're playing the London game, the Giants and the Panthers, but the Panthers do not have a primetime game, no surprise, and there are a few teams that have 1. Bring me into your thoughts on the Jets' schedule, as we know that of the 17 games that they will play, 6 of them are going to be prime time, as well as them starting their season like last season in prime time football, but hopefully, unlike last season, not losing Aaron Rodgers.
Why are we starting the season on Monday night again?
Amen.
Is it what was last year not enough? Like, Jets fans have suffered for 50 years of terrible quarterback play.
Yeah.
And now we've got arguably the most talented player to ever step on a football field at quarterback. We see him for 4 plays last year because we start on Monday Night Football, and now we've got to do it again, and we've got to go to San Francisco to do it. Come on. Like, it's one of the best defenses in football. You're putting Aaron Rodgers behind a young, well, it's not really that young. Behind a brand new offensive line, 3 guys that have never played together before.
Yeah.
What can we make sure he plays more than 4 snaps this year? Mike Greenberg from ESPN has been saying he doesn't want Aaron Rodgers to go to San Francisco. I'm not opposed to that.
What is he, LeBron James? He gets to pick the games he plays now?
No, I just don't want him to get hurt.
I know.
I mean, he's coming off a serious injury, and he came back in record time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm afraid of that. No, but in all seriousness, though, that's going to be a great game to open up the season in San Francisco. Those 2 of the best defenses in football going up against each other. And it's on grass. A lot better than turf.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually last week, so that golf tournament that I played in last week was for my high school. And I won something in a silent auction where I got 2 field level Jets tickets to any home game I want.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like going to night games in the NFL just because I don't know, just something about it. Like I like the experience of waking up in the morning,
Yeah.
getting to the stadium at like 9 a.m.,
You don't want to drive with
drinking,
drunk people in East
tailgating,
Rutherford, New Jersey, Murph, at like 11 o'clock at night?
and tailgating and until about 12:30. Then you go into the game, you watch the game,
Yeah.
you come back out, you have a post-game tailgate where there's more food and more beer and everything, and then you go home. It's an entire day affair.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to do a post-game tailgate for a 8 o'clock game. Like, come on, that's the best part of the tailgate. My brother smokes ribs in the truck during the game. We come out after the game and we got fresh ribs that were smoked for hours, and it was great. But yes, I gotta find a game to go to there. But there's only one 1 o'clock home game until December. They play the Denver Broncos at 1 o'clock on September 29th. They don't have another 1 o'clock home game until December 1st.
Yeah.
That's annoying. It honestly is.
Well, if you're a Jacksonville fan, we have 1 o'clock games all season long, typically all the time. But we have 2 primetime this year. Last time we had 3. We technically have 4 marquee games for Jacksonville because
you have 2 in London.
Because we have 2 in London, and we have Sunday night football and we have Monday night football. By the way, week 3, early in the season, Jaguars Monday night football, week 3 at Buffalo. The last time I went to a Jaguars Buffalo game, Jalen Ramsey was trying to get the fans to continue to scream at him and say horrible things, and that went viral. My video of him encouraging them to keep hating him. And then in that same end zone area is where Leonard Fournette and his teammates decided to have a fight with the Buffalo Bills, and Leonard Fournette, as a running back, was using his hands to punch the helmet of a Buffalo Bills player. So, the last time you saw your boy in Buffalo at a Jaguars game, it was interesting. This is going to be a Monday nighter, and thank goodness it's in week 3 because hopefully the weather will be nice. Maybe like a 60-degree night. Maybe it's going to be in the 80s that day. Maybe it'll be 70 when game time starts because it's an earlier game time. We shall see. But I'm excited to experience that because there's a good opportunity that I may be in Buffalo. Hopefully, God willing, we shall see, for that Monday night game, Jacksonville at Buffalo. I know a lot of Buffalo Bills fans, and I know I've already been asked twice if I would go out to the Buffalo game. I have been out for multiple Buffalo-Jacksonville games over the years, by the grace of God and by the kindness of the Jaguars organization and the Bills organization. So, to me, I'm excited for that. But if you want a 1 o'clock game, Murph, we only play one 4 o'clock game this season. I think Jacksonville only plays one because typically when they're at home, it's at 1 o'clock. But for the Jets, to go back there for a moment, what I was saying to you when you were talking about the night games, my question to you, and I'm going to address it again, is you don't like night games in East Rutherford, New Jersey, when you're leaving at 12:15 in the morning and people have had many a beer and they're already just angry drivers out in New Jersey. You don't want to drive home with the fanfare at 12:17 as somebody going, "Hey, you move over. Hey, no, you move over." And then you look at a guy and what is he screaming at? He's yelling at a sign because it's not a person, because he should not be. And by the way, please don't ever drink and drive. I was hit by a drunk driver. I could have been paralyzed by the drunk driver. I could have been killed by this drunk driver. And I was in the New York City area by JFK. So I joke around about that. I know, not joke around, but I obviously am joking today about the fact that, people got a few whatevers in them. But get an Uber, get a taxi, have a DD. The reality of the fact is, when you leave these games at 12 o'clock in the morning or 11:30 at night, if you're a media person, I'm leaving a Monday night football game that starts at 8. I'm leaving at 1 o'clock at the earliest. Please do not drink and drive. Please do not drive tired. Please do not drive while staring at your phone. You know, I talk about the fact that there are fans that drink a little bit too much, and we joke around about that within the confines of the stadium, and I don't even like that. I don't even like that people drink too much there. Please get home safe and just be smart about what you're doing, because sometimes, and Murph was talking about, you know, he likes earlier games, sometimes a deterrent for fans of going to games is when they're at night, because they're afraid that people are going to be drinking, and they're afraid that people are going to be driving recklessly. So there are people that will not go to a primetime game out of concern for the state of the fans that are leaving driving next to them, which should never have to be a concern. But when you had tens of thousands of people, the chances of finding one idiot are higher when the amount of people increases. And yes. I just want people to be safe. I know we can joke a lot here on Wake Up Call, but I mean, I do, you know, when I'm leaving a stadium, especially, and I've been to MetLife plenty of times, you know, you just want, when you're driving in New Jersey and New York area, that area, New York City, like, whenever I'm driving to MetLife, there's like a heightened, like, more gripping of the wheel of, like, you know, God get me, like, it just feels different because there's traffic and there's people cutting people off and it's insane. And there's, you know, these bridges that just get unruly at times. And like being in that area, and then you add in a night game, there's a part of you that really wants to be there. And there's a part of you that's like, I already don't like the traffic in that area. I don't want to deal with it at 1:00 in the morning.
100% agreed. You know, but just peeking at the Jets' schedule, I can't help but notice this little game in week 15. They're playing someone they're playing someone on the road called the Jaguars.
The Jaguars? Yes. The Jaguars.
I kind of want to go to that game. I'm not gonna lie. I might. So my aunt and uncle live less than an hour from Jacksonville. I might get in touch with them, get in touch with my cousins, and see if they want to fly down and go to the game. Because I've been to that stadium. I think I saw the renderings for their new stadium, and I saw it. I'm going, I mean, is it really necessary? Like, I thought the stadium was fine. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. But did I see that they're going to put a roof on this new stadium?
Okay. It's like they're not calling it a roof. There's a cover that is supposed to be like wearing sunglasses. And so essentially it's supposed to be like one giant lens of sorts, is how like it's described, wearing shades. And it's supposed to decrease the weather. Like, it's not something that you can't see out of, but it's supposed to decrease the degree of whatever it is outside by 15 degrees, around 15 degrees. So it's not a complete cover.
So it's not a completely indoor stadium,
right?
But
It's not an indoor stadium where you can't see, but it's being described as wearing shades.
Because my one complaint about that place where we were sitting, we were directly below one of the pools. It was so hot.
It's so hot.
And this was at the end of October.
Oh, dude.
I was dying.
It's in the 90s, right? Like, it's in the 90s right now. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be in the high 90s. It's May. But this is the thing, when people are like, oh, well, Jacksonville doesn't have fans, nobody goes to the games. People don't understand. Some people don't go to the games because you have to try and not have a heat stroke. Like, you are sitting in God's magnifying glass. The stadium is wide open.
It's so hot.
The majority of those seats in that stadium that are wide open at Everbank Stadium, and I love Everbank. When I walk from my parking spot into the stadium, I sweat sometimes like I just ran a race. And it's just the weather. It's just the heat. And when you're walking from just the parking lot into the stadium, when you're walking there is no cover. There are no trees. Nope. It's just because they've leveled all that area to build. So it's just highway and like condos being built and just parking lot. And so like you are literally, you get out of your car, it's like God's magnifying glass from your car all the way into the stadium, and then you think, oh, thank God, I just got out of there, got out of walking. I'm hot. I feel dehydrated. Let me get to my seat and relax. And then you get to your seat and you're like, oh,
And it gets 10 times worse.
I could have just stood in the parking lot, because that's exactly like if you stop in the parking lot and you don't move, that's what it probably feels like being at your seat. And that's the thing. So I told people, of all of this stadium of the future, this $1.4 billion thing that we're working on here in Jacksonville, in Duval.
Why not just put a roof on the stadium as it is now?
But the thing, well, this is my thing.
Why not?
The thing that I'm so excited, but of everything they talked about with the stadium of the future, my biggest focus is that whatever this thing is that is going to decrease the degrees in the stadium, because I want more people at the stadium. I want less people feeling like they're going to pass out. And, you know, I mean, you're there for 4 hours at least. I don't, you know, it's not conducive. Now I go to the games and I sweat, but see, here's my thing. I sweat on the way in sometimes not bad. I sweat on the way in, and then once I get in, I say, okay, I'm in air conditioning. I'm in the press box. I'm fine. And I go from the press box, and then I go down and I do interviews in the locker room, and I go to the press room, and it's all air conditioned. The overwhelming majority of the 99.99999% of people that go into that stadium do not go, okay, I'm hot, now I'm cool. They go, okay, I'm hot, now I'm hot, now I'm hot.
I'm really hot.
Now I'm hotter. So, yeah, I mean, there's things, listen,
I was dying that day, man.
I know, the mayor, Donna
My
Deegan,
Saquon, I felt like my Saquon jersey was soaking wet.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing with the jerseys, too, when you wear that stuff, but especially if they're the real deal. But Donna Deegan, the
I
mayor...
get the cheap Chinese jerseys, dude. They're $30.
Well, then you can buy 18...
I got 2 dozen of them.
I was going to say, you could buy 18 of those and wear one every week. But...
Literally. I'm contemplating selling my 2 Aaron Rodgers jerseys and getting the new ones with the new logo.
I mean, I'm sure somebody will buy them. But...
Yeah, sell them for $25-30
right.
a piece.
But here's... So, Donna Deegan, the mayor of Jacksonville, said very clearly, I could either give this team a new stadium or I could lose them. She said that in clarity. She said,
I think she's right.
You know,
I mean, because the NFL wants them to go to London. Realistically, because why else would they be playing 2 games over there every season?
Because we have rights. We have rights to London and Ireland. Like, Jacksonville is the most noticeable logo in the United Kingdom because of consistency. Nobody's been there more than Jacksonville. They have now, at the end of last season, or during last season, at some point I got an email that they've now signed on with Ireland. So Jacksonville has this opportunity to becoming an international brand, which I applaud Shad Khan for doing that. But Jacksonville is very much in Jacksonville. And I've had this conversation, and I'm not going to rehash the entire thing because I've already stated it, but I'm going to state it in bullet points. I'm going to give you the spark notes. Spending over 13 years in Jacksonville, the better part of the last 13, God willing, now 14 years in Jacksonville covering this team, I laugh when people say, oh, there's a franchise, when they were talking about LA. Who's going to move to LA? Oh, probably the Jaguars, Dan. Oh, I heard about this, the Jaguars. Anytime there's expansion, anytime there's talk of different cities, anytime there's talk of an international team, they say Jacksonville. And I looked at people and I go, Daly's Place, changing the highway system, building ramps, taking stuff out, leveling areas, building condos, building hotels, building places to eat. I'm physically there. They spent $60 million on those boards, and when you watch those video boards, they look like 3D, but you're not wearing 3D glasses. And they look like 3D when I'm in the press box and I'm looking across. So Jacksonville has spent so much money. Shad Khan has spent so much money. The entire city by the water has been transformed, and I've seen it firsthand because I'm driving on the roads, and some of those roads and pathways don't exist anymore the way that they did before. So when somebody says to me, is Jacksonville leaving, or Jaguars leaving Jacksonville, I laugh. because the Jaguars have put in so much that it makes no sense to leave. And not only is Daly's Place there as an amphitheater to do shows, and they also show the games there, kind of like a Jurassic Park in Toronto type of feel, in my opinion, from what I understand. Daly's Place, which was outside, then they put a cover over it. It's attached to the stadium. There's not like, here are the Jaguars and here's Daly's Place. They attached this amphitheater to the stadium. Then they built that practice facility on the other side. There are so many things that have happened that I've seen in the transformation of Jacksonville that there is no reason to factually believe that the Jaguars would be leaving Jacksonville. And with this new $1.4 billion deal that the city and, or at least the mayor and the Jaguars organization have agreed upon, now it has to go to a 19-member council. And the majority of that council has to say yes. If they say yes in late June, then in October at the NFL meetings, 24 of the 32 franchises, so really 23 because Jacksonville say yes, 24 of the 32 franchises have to approve it, and then they can build it. But for the next 2 seasons, it's, work as usual from what I understand. Mm-hmm. Then it's going to be limited seating. Then they're going to Gainesville or Orlando. Y'all can watch what I said about that. Orlando, Citrus Bowl, Camping World Stadium is what it's called now. Makes the most sense. It doesn't make any sense to go to Gainesville. It makes perfect sense to make money and go to...
What? Orlando. They don't want to play at the Swamp?
It doesn't make sense. Orlando
it doesn't make sense for the Gators either.
It doesn't make sense for anything logistically. It creates problems that you don't have when you go to the Camping World Stadium. There's direct flights.
Isn't that nobody plays there, right? It's just the Orlando Battlehawks and the UFL.
Right. Nobody plays there. It's wide open. You're not going to be competing with anybody. It's a space that's an incredible space. So
it's only like 2 hours away from your home too. It's not like you have to go all that far.
Yeah, it's like 2.5, maybe a little bit more than 2.5 away from Jacksonville.
But it makes sense though.
It makes perfect sense. It makes sense for so many reasons. It makes sense for flights. It makes sense for destination. It makes sense for a family that says, hey, we're going to go to Disney on Friday. We're going to go to Universal on Saturday. Why don't we go see this NFL game for $40 a ticket on Sunday? You're going to get a bunch of fans you didn't have before. You're going to get a bunch of people that are just looking for something to do on a Sunday. So this makes huge sense for the Jaguars. I have stated it.
So wait,
for
is
over
it like
year.
a full-on stadium renovation, or is it like a completely new stadium?
It's like taking what they have now and essentially building this. I mean, I think I don't know if they're necessarily leveling everything, but it's the bones of this thing are going to change drastically. And
do they not have enough room to like build it on the property while they stay there and then, play until the new stadium is ready and then they demolish the new stadium or the old stadium?
They're going to play there the next 2 years and they're going to limit capacity, probably do maybe some things that they can do. And
because they're keeping the same site, right?
Because you got to think about it this way. I mean, they're not going to knock down Daly's Place. So, and that's, like I said, connected to it. So they have to essentially like reimagine this stadium, but Jacksonville is going to have to leave in order for them to fully do this. Because, I mean, even just talking about the roof and the shades and what that's going to look like and all that stuff, I mean, those are things that don't exist right now. It's totally
couldn't they build a new Daly's Place attached to a new stadium?
Yeah, but then you're wasting more money. Daly's Place isn't that old. So, I mean, you're going to level something to rebuild it. Doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Fair, but like, why would you want to take your team out of there for a couple of years, though? I just don't get that. It's like what the A's are doing, and they're moving to Sacramento until their stadium in Vegas is ready.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you just stay in Oakland until the stadium's ready? I don't get that. Why are you going to play in a minor league stadium?
Well, their situation makes no sense because
it's the Oakland A's.
You're going
nothing about them makes sense.
No, and you're going farther from Vegas in order to eventually get to Vegas. I've said this and I'll say it again. I don't believe necessarily that they're going to ever get to Vegas by 2028 or later, because it's supposed to be 2028. I think it's a 50-50 shot. I don't think it's like 90-10. I think it's a 50-50 shot that they even end up, the Oakland A's, in Vegas at the end of all this when it's said and done. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but to me it's more of a coin flip than it is a done deal because nothing about this smells like anybody really broke this down and made a good plan. But back to your Jets. I want to look at the Jets schedule. I want to look at what's going on. Ross, also a Jets fan, he's going to be with me tomorrow, and I'm sure he'll give his take as well. Two of my Merry Woodians that are joining me here on the show to discuss what's happening with the NFL and with the Jets. But here on DT and Murphy, inside a wake-up call with Dan Tortora, inside of the Heritage Hill Studios, Monday Night Football starts things off like we talked about. Then you got a 1 o'clock. Then you are playing on Thursday night. And then we will see...
That game scares me.
Yeah, against
it's the Patriots.
Yeah. On Amazon
I know they finally
Prime.
got over the hump, beat the Patriots last year, but it's the Patriots. We
Well,
don't play well against the Patriots.
And
Now, granted, Belichick's gone, so that could change things.
Every single game for the Jets on television, and the only one that doesn't have an identified network yet, and they will, is week 18 is always the TBD. So they don't put the time and they don't put the network yet. They do that as we get closer. I deal with that with Jacksonville every year. But you're going to start week 1, Monday night.
Loss.
God bless me. So we got Monday night, and then week 3, Thursday night, and then week 5 overseas in London. You're going to be the first overseas game. It's going to be at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium the week before Jacksonville gets there. The Jets will start off a 3-week London stint for the NFL. It'll be Jets, Vikings, and then the Jaguars will play the Bears in a road game, and they will play the Patriots in what's called a home game. Then right after you play overseas, you come back and play on Monday night. Then you play on Sunday night. I mean, Murph, we're asking not only Aaron Rodgers to come back, but in the first 7 weeks, we're giving him 2 Monday night games, a Sunday night game, and a Thursday night game, and a game in London.
Unbelievable. Like, the London thing doesn't... I don't want them to go to London, man. Like, come on. You couldn't have sent somebody else over there.
Well, we're not going for 3 weeks, Murph. We're already going for 2.
You couldn't have sent the Panthers over there?
They are.
Really?
The Panthers are going to, they're playing the Giants. I think, is that the one that's in Germany?
Oh, that's it.
That's the one that's in Germany.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not the one that's in London. I said London.
All right. What about the Bucks? What about the Dolphins? Send them over there. I don't want to go to London. I don't like the 9 a.m. games.
I love getting up in the morning and knowing I can lay in bed and watch football. I think that's fantastic.
That is actually quite enjoyable.
But yeah, they're playing the Giants are playing the Panthers in Germany.
Is it in Munich?
Yeah, it's in November 10th, week 10. They're playing in Germany. The tickets are as low as, you're not going to believe this. The tickets are as low. It's in Munich, yep. It's at, and they give the lowest ticket when they show it on ESPN. It says tickets as low as $836.
I mean, the Jets Vikings game, it's as low as $400.
Yeah, but so it's more. So in Germany, if you want to go to Germany and watch the worst team in the NFL against the Giants, who are a big question mark again this year, to go watch Giants Panthers in Germany is $836. But I want to hit you with some knowledge here and stay with the Panthers. Because of the price of all of the streaming platforms you would need this year to watch Carolina play, it costs less to buy a season ticket to watch the Panthers play inside of the Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte than it would cost you to sit at home and watch the game in your underpants.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. But, just looking at the schedule, I'm just looking at, and in terms of figuring out what the Jets are going to do this year.
Yeah.
You look at week 1 in San Francisco. Could they win that game? Yes, I can see them winning that game. Do I think they're going to win that game? No. So I'm going to say they're 0-1.
Yeah.
At Tennessee, Will Levis, young team.
Good
I'm going to
team.
say they win that game. That's going to be 1-1. New England on Thursday night. It's the Patriots, but hopefully we'll actually have Aaron Rodgers this time. I think they blow the Patriots out on Thursday Night Football. So that's 2-1. Denver, the game that I'm probably going to be there. That's going to be 3. Monday night could be a little sketchy.
2 Monday nights for
But
the
I
Bills in
think-
the first 7 weeks too.
Yep. But I think they win. I think they win the home game against the Bills. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-1. At Pittsburgh, 6-1. At New England, 7-1. Thursday night against Houston. They could lose that game.
Yeah.
For the sake of this exercise, I'm going to say they lose that game.
Yeah.
So now we're 7-2.
Yeah.
At Arizona, I think that's a pretty easy win. So 8-2. Indianapolis, Sunday night. Could be tough with Richardson back, but I'm going to say they win that game. So 9-2.
Mm-hmm.
Now you get to a somewhat tougher part of your schedule. You got to play Miami twice, and you got to play Buffalo again on the road. Seattle. I think they win that game. That's 10. That's 10-2. Right? Yeah, 10-2. At Miami, I think they lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
10-3. At Jacksonville.
Watch it.
That will be a good This will be a good game.
It's on my grandmother's birthday, December 15th.
This will be a good game.
Shout out G Mama.
But I think the Jets would win this game. So that's 11-3.
Boo that man.
Rams. Don't even need to say anything. 12-3.
Okay.
At Buffalo. 12-4. I think they lose that game.
Yeah.
And then you have Miami at home, which could go either way. I think and I was seeing these people saying that, like, you know, the Jets record is going to be like, I think Greeny jokingly was like, they're going to be 15-2. And I'm like,
Yeah.
come on. Like, let's be real here. But now the more I'm looking at it, I'm like, 13-4 is not out of the question. I could see 12-5, 13-4 easily happening. Because the only games I really see them losing, San Francisco,
Yeah.
either of the Buffalo games, either of the Miami games,
This is all contingent.
and then Houston. I don't see any game as like an obvious loss.
But this is all
anymore.
contingent on Aaron Rodgers being
Correct.
healthy, Aaron Rodgers
Because
not
last
getting
year,
right back
I
into it,
would've-
being effective, being able to pass,
Mm-hmm.
being able to get comfortable, knowing his guys, and not really missing a beat. This is 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers being
Correct.
healthy, prepared, ready, in tune, chemistry.
This is
contingent on all that.
assuming Aaron Rodgers plays like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I don't need MVP Aaron Rodgers. Close to that, though, that's fine.
Yeah.
If Aaron Rodgers plays like MVP Aaron Rodgers, the Jets will make a deep playoff run. But that is a big, big if. And call me out for being biased all you want. But if you look at this schedule, I don't know if you've gone through this schedule and saw what you think.
I'm going to tell you.
I'm gonna say 12-5. I think they lose
Okay.
both. I'm gonna say they lose both to Miami
Okay.
because I think the division. I think if you look at it, the division could be sealed, could be done in week 18. Whether they win the division or not, I think let's just say they lose to Miami twice. Let's say 12-5.
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly realistic.
You want?
I'm curious to know your thoughts on that. If you think I'm crazy.
I think you're hopeful. And
Oh yeah,
I'm going to tell
obviously.
you, right. I'm going to tell you where I sit. So for those of you tuning in, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, DT, and Murphy, starting off your week on Mondays here on Wake Up Call inside the Heritage Hill Studios. Brew House, go out and visit in Pompey on Sweet Road, and go visit Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street, North Syracuse at Sweetheart Corner. The game at San Francisco, I'm going to call that a loss. Starting off the season, Aaron Rodgers is coming back. You're going on the
both
road.
agree on that.
You're going East Coast to West Coast, and the coast-to-coast things are tough. San Fran's got some tough stuff too, though. San Fran, in a week where Buffalo has a bye week, and they got all this extra time, San Fran's got to come over to Buffalo, and, I talked about that with Anthony. They got to come across the country, and Buffalo's going to have a week off and all that stuff. So, San Fran in this game, I'm going to call that a loss for the Jets. Tennessee on the road. Now, it's early, and my belief when you play Tennessee is that you play them early and that usually can bode better for you. They're a team that becomes dangerous at certain points in the season. You can never count them out. They have Calvin Ridley. They have DeAndre Hopkins, Treylon Burks. Let's see what he could do. They don't have Derrick Henry anymore. They got Tajay Spears. They have Tony Pollard. I like Tajay. Covered him in college. They have Will Levis. This is a good time.
I don't like their defense, though.
Right. This is a good time to play them, though. So I'm going to say a win. It's early. Now, the Patriots, in the past, when the Patriots were really, really good, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady time, the Jets would steal a game, the Bills would steal a game, the Dolphins would steal a game when none of those teams were that good. Now, this time around, it's the opposite. I anticipate the Patriots are going to be the last team in this division because of the fact that the Jets are better, on paper healthy. Miami's good, and Buffalo, we'll see. We'll see, can Buffalo make it to the playoffs this year is a big question mark. And I know Buffalo fans might freak out when I say that, but the last 3 years you had an opportunity to win the Super Bowl. This year you have an opportunity, but I think the window is different now. The talent is different now in certain areas. So I don't feel as good about Buffalo. I feel better about Miami and the Jets. So I'm going to say loss, win. New England at home, I'm going to say win. So 2-1. Denver 3-1. Then we go overseas to Minnesota. I'm anticipating they could be playing up against their old quarterback, Sam Darnold, or they could have JJ. I think JJ might sit a little bit longer than other guys. So whoever they play in this one.
If it's Sam, he's going to be motivated to beat him.
Right. But I mean, in your overseas and really it comes down to, who's more jet lagged and who's more prepared. And I always say this about teams, and Jacksonville will do it. Leave immediately. If you're playing a game, then go. Play on a Sunday, go on Tuesday. Get out of there. Get overseas Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, then play on Sunday. Give your body 5 days to get acclimated at least. So I'm going to say lost to San Fran, win over Tennessee, win New England, win Denver. So that's 1, 2, 3. Win over Minnesota. That's 4-1. Because then Buffalo at home Monday night. That's at home. I'm going to say 5-1. At Pitt, 6-1. At New England, I'm going to say 7-1. But I think that New England can be a trip 'em game, just like it used to be. Flip the other way.
If they steal one, it'll probably be in New England.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-1.
7-1.
Houston on Thursday night, 7-2.
Yep. So far, we agree completely.
Yeah. Arizona, 8-2. Indianapolis. That's a Sunday night game. Could be a trip 'em game. Depends on where Anthony Richardson is at. I'm going to say 8-3. Then I'm going to say Seattle, 9-3. At Miami. I think this is going to flip this year. I think they're going to lose to Miami at home, beat Miami on the road, arguably. So I'm going to say 10-3. At Jacksonville. Hey. It depends on where my Jags are at. Depends on where
I think that could be
depends on where Aaron is at. Depends on. See, but here's the thing about Jacksonville that I love. Okay? We play better when we're underdogs. We don't play as well with the hype. So
now here's the problem that I see in that game though.
But I go ahead because I'm going to.
You remember the Giants Jags game 2 years ago that I came down to?
Yeah, and that you realize just how many New Yorkers live in Florida. And how
that is what I would be worried about. I would be worried about that stadium being 70%.
Oh my gosh, there's going to be so many. To every 10 people, there's going to be an Aaron Rodgers jersey. And
I'm willing to bet that stadium will have just as much dark green as it had blue when the Giants were in town.
Yeah,
I seriously think that's going to happen.
That was more embarrassing.
My entire flight, when I flew down, my entire flight was all Giants fans. The pilot, when we got off the plane, literally had said to us, may the best team win on Sunday, knowing full well you had a ton of Giants fans on that plane.
Yeah. So I'm going to say this is going to be a tough one. Again, it's late in the season. It's week 15. It depends on where the Jets are at, and it depends on the health of both teams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say I got them at 10-3. I'm going to say 11-3. They beat Jacksonville. Then I'm going to have them beating the Rams, so I'm going to say 12-3. Then they lose to Buffalo on the road. I'm going to say 12-4, and then they lose to Miami. So I'm going to say 12-5.
So you're the same as me. So I'm not crazy.
No. It sounded
The more you go, the
it
more you
sounded
go
lofty,
through it.
but then once I went through it, it makes sense. It
I did the
sounded
same
like
thing.
a lofty thing, but when you actually look at their schedule and I say 12-5, that's with me thinking they're going to trip up in a couple places. I think
And there's gonna be a game that they lose that they shouldn't.
I
Like,
think the worst
if
that
they
the
lose
Jets
one
do
of the
with
Patriots
health this
games,
year, I think
if they-
11-6 is the
Go ahead.
worst that the team does.
Yeah.
Healthy.
Healthy 11-6 is absolute worst case scenario.
Yeah, healthy. So, I think when we look at the health of this team, if they stay healthy and we have Sauce and you have Garrett and you got Brees and you got, some good backups there, like a Banacanda in the background for the Jets, and you have Aaron Rodgers, if you have, and the offensive line stays healthy and they gel well together, I think a healthy Jets team, as crazy as it sounds initially to say 12-5, going through that, as I just did and Murph just did, when I gave them 12-5, I did that having them lose games that I think that they could potentially win. So
100%.
12-5 sounds fair. 11-6 sounds like the bottom for this healthy team, So
I mean, 11 wins could win the division.
Well, and that's my thing is
it's possible.
I think 10 wins can win this division, depending on. I'm not anticipating.
I mean,
New
they
England
could just
to be
beat
that
up
great.
on each other.
Right. I'm not anticipating New England to be great. I'm anticipating the head-to-heads within the AFC East to be really good. I'm not necessarily anticipating Miami to have more than 11 wins. And so I think that the 10-11 range can win the division of the AFC East this year. I really do believe that. The thing about the Jets, which is great for fans, but tough for the Jets, is that it's Monday night, it's Monday night, then a Sunday, then it's Thursday night, then a Sunday night, then it's overseas, then a Monday night, then a Sunday night. So and then it's a regular, then a Thursday night, then it's a late afternoon, then a Sunday night. So I mean, the prime time is great for the fans, but this is a very, very, like, the world is watching. You are the only game on. This is prime time. I mean, when you think about it, it's so great for a Jets fan, but at the same time for the team, you're not playing a normal schedule. A normal schedule is early Sunday, midday Sunday. You're playing Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday night, overseas, Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night. Like, there's a lot of pressure on the Jets this year, but that's what you get when you get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I mean, you knew it was going to happen when they made that deal.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe the fact that they lost him at the start of last year and they only had to give up an extra second-round pick instead of a first-round pick, maybe it ends up playing in their favor. If he's healthy this year, and they can win, let's just say Tyron Smith goes down. Now you got Olaf Fashanu that could step in at left tackle. They wouldn't have had that if Rodgers had hit the threshold for them to give up a first-round pick.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have had that. And now they do. Now they have Olaf Fashanu that could step in and play either tackle spot or maybe even play guard if he has to. They have more depth this year. This team is better than they were on paper at the start of last year.
Yeah.
They didn't have Mekhi Corley that's going to play, that's going to probably play in the slot for them.
Yeah.
They didn't have Tyron Smith at left tackle. They didn't have Morgan Moses at right tackle. They didn't have John Simpson at left guard. Elijah Vera Tucker was going to be all over the place. Joe Tippmann has proved himself to be a pretty darn good center.
Yeah.
So they did well with that pick, right? Tight end situation looks good with Jack Conklin and Jeremy Rucker, with Tyler Conklin and Jeremy Rucker.
Right? I wanted Brock Bowers.
The defense got better.
Brock Bowers.
I get it, but the defense got better.
Yeah.
You get, Bryce Huff walks, but you bring in Hassan Reddick.
Yeah.
Who's just as good, if not better. Yeah, you let John Franklin Myers go, but now Will McDonald can play more. The defense got better. This team got a lot better. Up front especially. If this team stays healthy, there's no doubt in my mind that they could, emphasis on could, win the Super Bowl. Because with that good of a defense, you all know the saying, defense wins championships. That defense could easily stop Kansas City.
Yeah.
Look what they did on Sunday Night Football last year with Zach Wilson at quarterback. Very nearly beat the Super Bowl champs,
Right.
granted at home.
But do they
But
lag
the
off?
defense dominated.
But do they lag? Because the thing is, that defense knew, like, we don't have the quarterback. Like, we don't have the quarterback play. We're not going to
Maybe.
score a lot of points on offense. So they felt that fire and they responded to it. They felt that pressure, and the pressure made diamonds. Now that they have Aaron, not that they don't play hard, but does the defense kind of not go as heightened as they did last year?
No, I think they still do.
Because they knew that they were the team last year. So now, do they feel like, oh, there's less pressure, so now we don't have to go as...
You give up 2 touchdowns and that's it.
Yeah.
You just need 17 points. That's not a lot to ask for in the NFL, especially from Aaron Rodgers and that offense.
Yeah.
So the fact that they played, and the defense is no different.
Yeah.
The fact that they played Kansas City last year, tough, at home, granted, I'm trying to find the stats from the game. They picked off Mahomes twice. He threw for 200 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
Granted, Isaiah Pacheco had a day on the ground.
Yeah.
Had a day on the ground.
Are we going to talk about
But-
the defensive holding?
I mean, that would have been a 3rd interception.
Yeah.
I'm not for a second going to sit here and say, that should have been nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was contact there.
Yeah.
You could argue that should have been a no call. But, that's neither here nor there. Even had that play stood and the Jets got the ball back, I still don't know if they would have won.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that would have been Mahomes' 3rd interception. When does Patrick Mahomes throw 3 interceptions in a game?
When you got some sauce on the ball.
The Jets were all in his face.
Yeah.
All game long.
Yeah.
You look at, they only sacked him once, but he kept getting pressured. He threw 2 picks. Mahomes doesn't do that.
No. We got to get to Sports Card Show and Tell, but I do want to make a note here. Mystic Dan, my dude, so proud of this horse. He finished second. Seize the
so
Gray
disappointed.
is who I think PJ picked to win, and he did. So Seize the Gray wins. Mystic Dan
I picked the
finished.
same damn horse again, and it let me down
Yeah.
again.
So Seize the Gray, congratulations on your Preakness while you freak this. The 149th Preakness goes to Seize the Gray. And Mystic Dan, I understand he didn't win, but he came in second, which shows that there's that level of consistency of fighting till the end. So big time shout out to Mystic Dan. I know the Triple Crown doesn't come in, but getting this isn't like Mystic Dan's done a tremendous job and then ends, 5th. Ended second. So I love the
Granted,
horse.
there was only 7 horses that ran, but
Yeah. Hey,
even
but
still.
top 2, I'm good with it.
Yep.
Whether it's
I picked Catching Freedom again. I had an exacta box with Mystic Dan and Catching Freedom
Yeah.
to finish 1-2. What'd they finish? 2-3.
So
Go figure.
with that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back with GG Cards and Breaks Show and Tell right after this. I got some surprises for y'all, and I got some surprises for Murph. I'm going to throw Murph off a little bit with what I got to show here. That's coming up right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life from inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the tastes of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Murph and I are ready for you for some sports card show and tell. We do it every Murph Monday. DT and Murphy here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Heritage Hill Studios, proudly presented by GG Cards and Breaks is show and tell, and our exclusive studio partner, Heritage Hill. You'll find the brew house out in Pompey on Sweet Road in the beautiful country landscape right on the farm for Palladino Farms. And you'll also find right in the heart of so many towns converging together, 628 South Main Street, North Syracuse, New York, Heritage Hill North, the home of our CNS North Stars broadcasts. We are nowhere else with CNS than Heritage Hill North. That is our home for the CNS shows that we do with the student athletes, coaches, and administration. With that being said, here inside the Heritage Hill Studios, it's time for Sports Card Show and Tell with Murph. Proudly presented by the fantastic sports card shop, GG Cards and Breaks, my favorite place, without question, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Thank you for so many of you going out there and just being incredible in the community. The sports card community is so great and so awesome here in my hometown of Central and Upstate New York. And you can go there 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6, and Sundays from 10 to 5. Let them know the DT sent you, and thank you to everybody that's already gone in there. Murph, I will let you go first. I will go second. I know we've run over time here a little bit, so we'll crank through these, but I got some cool surprises. I don't have a lot, but they're all unique. What do you got for us?
I got some fun stuff. We'll start with the vintage.
Okay.
I bought a little vintage lot again the other night. We got together with a bunch of guys that I know on Tuesday night, made some deals, picked up some vintage stuff that I'm going to probably grade. Got a 1963 Stan Musial.
Nice.
A 1972 Pete Rose.
Pete Rose.
Actually looks really good.
Yeah.
It might get an off-center grade, but it looks really good. We got a 1964 Willie Mays.
Love it.
We got a 1958 Insert Sports Magazine All-Star Selection of Willie Mays.
Willie Mays.
And then we got a 1959. Oh, Willie Mays.
I love it.
And then this is an early edition or early card of him. I believe it's third year. Reggie Jackson in the 1971 Topps with the
Reginald.
black border.
Mr. Rocktober.
This will get an OC grade. That will get an off-center grade, almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Some PC cards I picked up in a trade. Hadn't had any of his autos and cards before, which is pretty cool. It's also rare to see these cards in a BGS 10. It is not a black label 10, but it is a BGS 10. This is numbered to 25. This is from 2015 Bowman. This is Noah Syndergaard on a die cut auto.
Oh, nice.
Top 100 prospects. Was the number 9 prospect at the time.
No.
And then this one I actually kind of liked better. This was Topps Tier 1, 16 out of 25, BGS 10. This is from 2016, so it is not a rookie, but it is still a really cool card with gold ink, Noah Syndergaard,
Nice.
BGS 10. Had to add some Thor to the PC. Didn't a friend of mine had the stuff. I got it $30 a piece. So pretty darn cheap.
Yeah.
2023 Absolute by Storm, CJ Stroud.
I like it.
Not a terribly expensive one of his rookie cards, but not bad at all.
What was that graded?
That's a 10.
Okay.
So then here we go. So this is the Bowman stuff I got back. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 Bowman Chrome Dylan Cruz. I've got 5 that are in card savers. I got to get more, but I have 2 more Bowman Paper Dylan Cruz. And then we've got a Sky Blue Paper, $4.99 out of $4.99. So it's the last one off the press of Dylan Cruz.
That's nice.
This won't grade well because it's quite off center, top bottom. And then we had by far the biggest card of the break. This is number 53 of 299. This is Dylan Cruz Speckle first Bowman auto.
Nice. That's really cool.
This card right here pays for the whole break.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about not grading it because the more I look at it, it looks like it has a print line.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's a print line. I almost want to show it to somebody and see what they think. But if I do grade it, I mean, it's centered well enough that I could get a 10. But I'm just worried about that print line, that what I think is a print line on there, that I might not want to grade it. But it's a $700 card.
Yeah.
So if I grade it, I grade it. I mean, hopefully it gets a 10, which would be nice. But last things last. This was the other silent auction that I won at the outing last week. Giants fans will appreciate this. And this is a full-size football.
DeVito.
No. This is a full-size football.
Give me DeVito. Yeah.
Signed by 2-time Super Bowl champion and future Hall of Famer Eli Manning.
Who
With
is that guy?
on the back,
Yeah.
you've got some Giants historical stuff.
Yeah.
Their 4 Super Bowl titles, their 4 NFL championships.
2-0 against Tom Brady.
Really, really cool. 2-0 against Tom Brady. Love that. But yeah, got this. Really kind of. I'm an Eli fan,
Yeah.
so I thought this
And
would be
his
something
signature
cool.
looks like his actual full name. So shout out to
yeah.
Eli for making it
Eli's got a
large
phenomenal
and-
signature.
a large signature that is legible.
Eli's got a phenomenal signature.
As opposed
So
to
this
Anthony
is-
Richardson's ant-sized signature that looks like nothing.
I know. So that's pretty cool. That's one of my favorite recent pickups. It was $165 I won that for in the silent auction.
That's good.
So, and the money donated to the school, so I'm more than okay with that.
Yeah.
So, it might not be worth $165, but that's okay. I'm going to keep it for my collection.
I like it. I love it. Very good stuff here from Murph here in our GG Cards and Breaks show and tell. The first thing that I will show you, Murph, is something that when you did the trade with GG Cards and Breaks and you gave them 2 cards and you said, hey, give them to these in the straight up trade for the Wyatt Langford, I was thinking this while it was in my possession. I continue to think it. I brought it to the guys. I go, here are the 2 cards, but I want this one. So I ended up keeping the rookie card Gem Mint 10 out of 10 of Vlad Guerrero Jr. just because I like Vlad and I like his dad too. I got this at GG Cards and Breaks. It is a PSA 9. It is a Bowman first, and it is of the rookie that I predicted would go to the one and only Jacksonville Jaguars, Brian Thomas Jr. So I got a
Sapphire.
I got a Sapphire Bowman first, 9 out of 10 grade there for PSA. I got these cards loose. And they're in good shape here. I got a refractor rookie card Fireworks of Brees Hall.
Like that. Green ice there.
I got the red coming from Zenith that I have of Will Levis's rookie card. And it's a double card, so it's front to back, same picture, different look. I got the Aaron Rodgers red parallel.
Oh, that's cool.
And this one's in very good shape. From one of the collections that was there at GG Cards and Breaks, I was able to get this rookie that I may be getting this one graded. I sent some CJ Strouds off with Murph this time. I sent them off last time. This one might get sent off as well. This is the Sideways Prism Fireworks green parallel refractor rookie of CJ Stroud.
That's a good one.
And last but very not least, we have the Gem Mint 10 out of 10 PSA DNA certified authenticated Ken Griffey on-card auto signature.
Is the card graded or is it just the auto? Okay.
Yeah, it says trading card Ken Griffey Gem Mint 10. And
how does the card itself look?
Auto grade. The card looks good. It's off center. You can tell it goes more to the left than to the right, but the card is in good shape. Maybe the top right corner is a little bit off, but the bottom corners look pretty good. The left side looks good. The right side,
to be honest with you,
off.
Ask the guys to take a look at it and see what it would maybe grade as a card.
Yeah.
And then I would consider sending it to PSA in the holder.
Yeah.
For them to grade the actual card. Because if the card itself grades well and the auto's a 10, there's not a lot of those available.
Yeah.
So like if it gets a 9 or an 8 with an auto 10,
yeah,
that exponentially increases the value of that card.
Yeah, and
I would seriously consider it. I would ask them. I'd ask them both and just say, hey, what do you think the card itself would grade? You know, even if it doesn't 10, you know, a 10-10 of that card's probably a $5,000 card. But
yeah,
if it's an 8 with an auto 10, probably $400 or $500, I would think. I don't know off the top of my head. I can look, but
yeah. And for what I got it for, and what these typically sell for, and you know, it was a really good deal. All the guys looked at it. Every one of them was like, "Hey, you know, you got this card in a bid. That's a card to keep." They all said, congratulations, keep the card, good card. Like, you know, make sure you get that card. So, and the other part of this too is because this is an on-card auto signature that was done, obviously not from the card company itself, but done from somebody going up and asking Griffey to sign this, is that there's a good chance that he put his hands on this card as well in order to sign it, either holding it down with his finger or picking it up and signing it. So Ken Griffey touched this card, so to speak.
I think that makes things real. I think that makes it really cool is when you have the card that's signed by the player.
Well, and if you look at the auto,
like they actually held the card. He's got a great autograph.
When you look at
that autograph is beautiful.
And not only that is like he signed it in blue, right? So he signs it in blue here, and he signs like the whole bottom of the card all the way through, and it has that blue signature.
Here, put that up to the screen again. I just want to see it. Just for here, back it up a little bit. Left-right centering's not bad. Maybe more top-bottom centering could
Anthony
be an
said
issue,
this
but
corner just a little bit, but the left side looks definitely good.
I think all you need is an 8.
Yeah.
If the card itself grades an 8, I think you're gonna be very happy about what you could do in terms of money on that card.
Yeah.
If you were to sell it.
Ken Griffey, motherfucker.
If you have no intention of selling it, then don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But
No,
if
but
you would
this-
eventually sell that card,
Yeah.
I would probably send it to them and grade the card itself.
This is and I thought, because this to me, this card a card as is, the offers that I think that I'll get on this card, and as far as what I think I could sell it for without even having the card itself.
I have the
graded,
non autograph
really good
card.
shape. Yeah. So
This is a 9.
Let's hold them up side by side here.
Yeah. If your card was in a 9 auto 10,
Yeah.
that would be a big card.
Yeah.
I'm curious now how much that goes.
To me, it's a big card right now because the guys told me, they said, what you paid for this, they were looking at like comps and what other things were going for. That card in and of itself, not grading the card, but grading the auto Gem Mint 10, that rookie card of Ken Griffey, the way that it is right now, I think I'm going to get offers and I think I'll be in good shape, especially with, people that have been in the collection of looking for older stuff or some people that maybe
I'd grade the card.
But
honestly,
if I do grade the card,
I really would.
If I do it on top of that, yes, there's an opportunity for it to be even better. I'm going to see what the offers are beforehand while I'm still thinking about what I'm doing on grading it. But I do kind of want the auto and the card to be graded. So depending on what offers I get, we'll see what offers I get. And if I get an offer that makes sense to me, then we'll see.
If you can make a good amount of money on that card, it's worth doing.
Yeah.
But I would look into first of all, how many there are in 7 auto 10, 8 auto 10, and 9 auto 10.
Yeah.
And see what they go for.
Yeah.
Right? Because
the guys
on those are probably low.
Yeah, and the guys were looking that up and they said, hey man, like you got a really good deal on that card.
What'd you pay for it?
It was, I don't want to say the exact amount, but
you could text me later.
Yeah, I'll text you. But I mean, it wasn't a ton. But I will say that for what I paid for it, Alex looks. So when I did it, and they looked at the eBay thing, and then they looked at the card itself. Alex looked at it. Anthony looked at it. Josh looked at it, and every single one of them was, you got a good deal. Congratulations. That's a big card. This is one of this is one of those good for you moments. Like, this is a really awesome opportunity. Get the card, get the card, get the card. Like, everyone was in unison of good deal, good card, congrats. And those are coming from guys that are very, very honest about what cards are, what they're worth, and what the state is that they're in. So that's why I trust GG Cards and Breaks as my sports card shop of choice, because they're very honest and they're fair. And they're at 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, bringing you sports card show and tell. And they are open for you Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., Sundays from 10 to 5. And this Thursday, we have our monthly trade night. This one's going to be at the shop. You go to GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Right after they close their normal hours on Thursday, 10 to 6, they will be reopened from 6:30 to 9:30 for trade night this Thursday, May 23rd. And I have an event that night at Heritage Hill North, so I will be a little bit later, but fret not, folks.
Don't you dare be as late as you were when I was there for the trade night.
When a man's got events, I'm trying to pull double duty. So I will tell you this. I will be there when my event is done at Heritage Hill North with CNS. I'm not that far away. I will see you all at trade night, and I hope to maybe be an hour behind. But if you don't see me there, I am going to be there. I will very much be on site. I won't miss it. I got a ton of stuff that I think could sell and that I could trade. So I'm not going to miss trade night. Number one, because I love the guys and I love the store. Number two, because I think I got some product that people might want. So I will be there. I'll just be there a little bit later because Pop has got to take care of business. Double duty on Thursday night. So with that being said, Murph, we gave you some extra time today. Preakness while you freak this. We talked about PGA. We discussed Xander. Congrats to him on his first major win. Congratulations to everybody out there going out there and finding the cards that they love and having fun with all of that. I hope that y'all continue to get into this world of buying, selling, and trading. And, of course, go to GG Cards and Breaks. Thanks to everybody that has been checking out the NFL schedule stuff we've been doing on the show, including today. And, of course, Murph and I got to talk about the Jets specifically and get into some other pieces. Murph needs to make his way Sunday, December 15th down to Florida. We will discuss that off the air.
I'd love to make that work.
And beyond that, I love you, buddy. Congrats to you and the family on your sale. And hopeful prayers on finding the next place for you to call home. And in the meantime, I will look forward to talking with you off the air. And for on the air, DT and Murphy, we will see you in a couple weeks. But I will see you soon. And Murph and I are off for Memorial Day. And I hope that you all enjoyed that. But I'll be with you the rest of this week. And, of course, next week, besides Monday, we will have shows throughout the week. A lot of fantastic can't-miss opportunities coming up. Some with guests that have never been on the show before. So with that being said, Murph, thank you for your time. Congratulations on your finds and your Paul Skeens confidence and that it all worked out. And I look forward to talking with you soon.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a few weeks, but we'll talk with you soon.
We will. And please be safe in your travels.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. That coming from Murph here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. My partner for DT and Murphy to start off your week on Mondays. Murph will be off for a couple weeks as we will be off for Memorial Day. It is a holiday, so Wake Up Call will be off this coming Monday, which is May 27th, and then Murph will be off the following week, but I will be with you all. So I look forward to seeing y'all soon, and obviously we'll see you tomorrow, God willing. So we'll take another step aside, and we'll round out the show right after this from the Heritage Hill Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, located for you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is our sports card and trading card shop of choice. You can find GG Cards and Breaks right there on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse off of Teal Ave every single day of the week, Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. Hockey, soccer, baseball, basketball, football, AEW, UFC, and all sport cards available to you while supplies last throughout the year at GG Cards and Breaks. You can find boxes, packs, singles, and graded cards. They have autos. They have patch cards. They have RPAs, rookie patch auto. They have numbered cards as well as those rare prints that you can find. So many amazing discoveries that you can make at GG Cards and Breaks, including by going through the boxes of Major League Baseball. Every MLB, every NBA, every NFL team is on the back wall. You never know what you're going to find in those boxes. They have the new arrivals boxes, and they just had a bunch of things graded by PSA coming back as 9s and 10s, and plenty of those are there while supplies last, including Bowman firsts of those NFL draft picks that you just found out maybe they're going to your favorite team, or maybe you love that college team, or maybe that player is a player that you love to watch. So you can find all of those great things at GG Cards and Breaks. Head there today. Let them know that DT sent you, or you could say Wake Up Call sent me, to 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Experience the difference at GG Cards and Breaks, also featuring Disney Lorcana and Pokemon. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to give a shout out once again to our incredibly awesome Heritage Hill exclusive studio partner, Heritage Hill Brewhouse in Pompey on Sweet Road, and Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York. They are with you in the city. They are with you in the country. They are finding you wherever you're at. So if you want to take a ride, take a drive, and head out to the country, the Brewhouse is right there for you in Pompey. If you want to go to a place you're coming into town and you're coming out of the airport, you're coming out of the bus station, the train station, coming out of the city, you're in Cicero, you're in Clay, you're in Liverpool, you're in North Syracuse, wherever you may be, and you're in the hustle and bustle, and you want to stop and grab a bite to eat and get a drink, of course, always drink responsibly, then Heritage Hill North is right there for you. City, country, you got them both. Heritage Hill, our exclusive studio partner, here on Wake Up Call Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. worldwide on Facebook.com and YouTube.com, both / Wake Up Call DT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, where you can listen live anywhere in the world. Once the shows go live, they hop into the archive, and you can find us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, as well as Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And make sure you subscribe and click follow and all that good stuff. So not only that you find us on those podcasting platforms, but that you stay connected with us so that when the shows get added, you know right away. Our incredible partners you can visit in Central and Upstate New York: Heritage Hill Brew House, Heritage Hill North, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, where we will be tonight. That is tonight, Monday, May 20th, on site at 8 p.m. We will be featuring the West Genesee Wildcats softball team. Cannot wait to be there with you and celebrate this softball season, and of course, celebrate this amazing softball program and the West Genesee Wildcats in general. Head coach John Bubb and the team will be with me on site at the Wildcat, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York, tonight, May 20th at 8 p.m. on stage. Come and grab some pizza and have your, well, there's so much to order, but you can get pizza and wings and all the great stuff at the Wildcat, including the Wildcat's signature Wildcat sauce on their boneless wings or on their bone-in wings. And we'll be there tonight with you, having dinner and a show, Monday, May 20th at 8 p.m. with West Genesee Wildcats softball. GG Cards and Breaks, Avocolis, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. Shout out to all of the great things they do and all the events that they're at. They're on 201 7th North Street in their brick and mortar every week location in Liverpool, and they're also on the road with their many a trailer out there supporting so many amazing things in our community, including most recently the Battle of the Wings. Got some deep fried Oreos at Ma and Pa's, and they were fantastic, and everything Ma and Pa's does is so great. I tell people all the time, if you want to know what it's like to go to the New York State Fair and only go to one place, if you go to Ma and Pa's, you can get deep fried Oreos, so many different funnel cakes, lemonade, cotton candy, kettle corn, popcorn, and all of it is made by Ma and Pa's. So you're supporting local, you're getting awesome flavors, nothing's going to taste exactly like that anywhere else, and you can go to one place and get a full feel of an entire fair just by going to Ma and Pa's. Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, and Mother's Cupboard, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. You can find the Dolphins Wednesdays during Dolphin Time at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And thank you to Jerry, who said that was a really fun show. Always love that you listen, Jer, and thank you for being with me from the beginning of my career in 2003. Jerry, you've been a supporter for 21 years, and I can never thank you enough for that love, that support, that constructive criticism and kindness and goodness and generosity. You've always been real with me, supportive with me, and kind with me, and I cannot thank you enough for your love and your positivity and your faith in me. I really do appreciate that, and I consider you a gift from God, and I pray that God heals every wound and gives you every opportunity to have the best years of your life happening from here forward. AD&DT, first and third Wednesday of each month with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. Second and fourth Wednesday, the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. Find the Dolphins during Dolphin Time Wednesdays at 9 a.m., exclusively on Wake Up Call. And of course, you can find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find the Lemoyne playlist. You'll also find the Dolphins on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com, and fins way up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find the Bobcats every single month right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. In our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership, we call it the Bobcat Buzz. Speaking with student athletes, coaches, and administration, men's and women's soccer, which have both won national championships, men's and women's basketball, who have both competed for national championships, baseball, which started off last season and is now 2 years in, and esports, which is coming into the fray at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. You can find all this content with coaches, student athletes, and administration all throughout the year. And of course, our Bobcat Buzz comes to you on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. And of course, you'll find the BSC Syracuse playlist on our YouTube channel. And of course, you can also find the Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find the Bearcats Tuesdays exclusively on Wake Up Call at 10 a.m. Eastern Time in what we call Bearcat Time. And that will feature monthly pieces called Moments with Marshall, featuring Gene Marshall, the athletics director at Binghamton University, with a behind-the-scenes look and an overall look at athletics. And, of course, the Bearcat Break Room, which will feature student athletes, coaches, and administration all throughout the Binghamton University stories, journeys, and fantastic spotlights on the Bearcats that are doing so many great things across so many different sports in and out of the classroom. We appreciate them so very much. You will find all this content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you will also find the Binghamton playlist on our YouTube channel. Binghamton is available on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and you'll find the Bearcats on the underneath the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com as well. For more information, go to bubearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, from the Heritage Hill Studios, thanks to Murph, once again talking about the PGA Championship. Shout out to Xander for winning his first ever major. The Scottie Scheffler story, God willing, everything will work out for all parties involved and everyone will be okay and be at peace. The family of John Mills, I pray more than anything, will be at peace and that John Mills is safe and sound in heaven, always connected with his loved ones because God sent his only son and Jesus destroyed our death and restored our life. Big time shout out to the conversation we've gotten to have and continued conversation of the NFL schedule. And many thanks to GG Cards and Breaks for our sports card show and tell. For now, from the Heritage Hill Studios, I bid you adieu. Head out to Heritage Hill in Pompey as well as in North Syracuse. I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all for joining us on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. We'll see you tonight at the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York with West Genesee Wildcats softball. And we will be there at 8 o'clock is when the show starts. So come out and have dinner and a show today, May 20th, 8 p.m. We'll see you at the Wildcat with West Genesee softball. And in the meantime, as always, God bless, no stress, do your best. Have a